meeting of the City of Oak Park Heights Parks and Trails Commission meeting. And the first thing on our agenda tonight is the approval of this agenda itself. Has everyone read it?
Yeah.
And could I ask for approval? Motion to approve?
I'll move that.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been approved as written, and we're going to move on to now looking at the Parks and Trails Commission minutes from our last meeting, which was Monday, January 24th. And that one was indeed in person at City Hall. If everyone wants to look it over real quick and cite any changes or corrections. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions?
No
If you're-
questions here.
Okay, thank you. Then I'd ask for a motion to approve those meetings as written.
I'll
I
move.
Go ahead.
I motion to move the agenda forward and approve the last meeting's minutes.
Thank you, Annie. Motion has been approved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes as written. We'll move on to department and commission liaison reports. And the first is Lisa Danielson as our arborist.
I just got a couple items here to update you guys with quickly. I believe it was the Monday before the last Parks Commission meeting. I had mentioned that I was preparing the prairie restoration maintenance info for council for the next evening. And at the meeting that Tuesday night, or January 25th, the city council did approve to continue with the prairie restoration area management for the year. Maintenance this year will include a spring mow at each of Valley View and Swagger, and then 3 to 4 weed control visits based on site conditions throughout the year. And then aside from that, just starting to kind of get spring projects organized. And that's all I've got for an update for tonight.
Okay. When do you do your examination or inspection of all those boulevard trees?
Well, I can say every time it storms, I usually go around and check everything out. And then usually around the time that trimming lists are prepared. But I have been taking a look at the trees, especially for emerald ash borer here this winter, and there's quite a bit of it out there.
There is.
So
Sorry to hear that, but to be expected to some extent, isn't it?
yeah,
Okay, anything else, Lisa?
I do not have anything else for today.
No, well, you always do a good job.
Do we
for
have
us.
some of those trees, Lisa, in our parks, or is mainly boulevard trees?
It's mainly boulevard trees, but there's some, I'd say the park with the majority of them is probably Autumn Hills and then Brecky Park.
Yeah.
There's a couple at Valley View. But aside from that, that's really about it as far as the parks go for ash trees.
Then you have a replacement program too, right?
Correct.
And what kind of tree are you replacing most of those ash borers?
Oh, there's a whole variety of them. Basically, for right now, we kind of have to stay away from planting more maple. There's a requirement that the DNR has set for the number of, it's a percentage for how many of the same species and family and variety you want. And by promoting diversity of trees, that means so next time when, say there's a bug that attacks maple, or say there's a bug that attacks crab apples. You don't end up with the same issue as now. Like in the past, there was Dutch elm, which knocked out all them trees. And now we have the ash borer knocking out all the ash trees. So if you have
Right.
that diversity, you can still keep a lot of mature trees, even though you're trying to fight a pest.
Right. Well, you always do a good job for us. Appreciate
thank
that
you.
so much.
Try to do my best.
We can tell that. We really can. Public Works Director.
Yes. Well, I really don't have any significant updates related to parks and trails this month. I can tell you that, of course, as our rinks melt, our staff likely will not be putting much more effort into maintaining the ice. We will, of course, do our daily maintenance within the parks and the trail system. That's always ongoing. I think I've reported this before, but over the winter, our staff has been, we've been diligently working on making repairs and replacing rotted parts of that Brecky train. The work is almost complete. I think the bulk of what remains is some paint, some reassembly. When that is complete and in the spring, we will put it back in its original location at Brecky Park. And that's really all I have to update you on for this month.
Thank you very much. You too always do such a superb job.
Oh, thank you.
Just that needs to be said once in a while to you guys.
But can I just ask,
Just one question, Andy. How are the hockey boards holding up at Brecky?
They're holding up. They are definitely showing their age. They're still standing. We do have rotted posts. The crew is doing a fantastic job of pushing those through. We are going to have to look at replacement soon, but maybe not in the next year or two, but very soon.
Thank you.
What's that going to cost about?
Maybe just south of 100,000, maybe
Wow.
80,000, around $100,000.
Wow,
Wow.
that's good to know ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a plan for that one.
Yes.
And thank you, Andy. Commissioner and our liaison to the council is Chuck Doherty. Mr. Doherty, what do you have to say?
I really don't have anything much to report. Not much going on our end. But Andy, I was going to say, I don't know if you got that information on used boards coming out of indoor rinks.
No,
Oh.
I'm listening. Is there someone locally that's getting rid of some indoor rink boards?
I think it was Bloomington, I think. I'll look back on my notes and
Okay.
find it.
Yeah,
So-
I'll check into that for sure.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that'd be great.
no, I don't, nothing else to report.
well, you could
Thank you.
check in with the Olympics, Andy. I think you're done with the boards on that stuff.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Shipping
Lisa and
might
I'll
be,
have to take a trip over to pick
Yeah,
them
yeah.
up, right?
yeah, shipping might be an issue, but what the heck?
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, we have visitor and public comment, but I know they were invited officially to join us and follow the same kind of procedure that we followed to get in. And but I don't see anyone here, so we'll move on. There's no public hearing tonight. And so we go to old business, and that's the Parks and Trails Commission vacancy. Now this is a two-parter for us because Annie Berries has done just a superb job, and we're sorry to lose her as one of the commissioners here, but it's because we hired her for our new summer programmer. And I have a lovely letter that she sent in with the request to have her resign officially from the board and move forward with her new position. Is that something that it would be appropriate to read, Jen?
Certainly may. Yes, it is very nicely written.
It is. I'm so impressed. It really, that's why I hate to lose her, because she was just so good right from the very first meeting that she came and joined us. And this letter is just so nicely done. I like to read it. Dear Parks and Trails Commission, I am writing to inform you about my decision to leave my position as board commissioner of the Oak Park Heights Parks and Trails Board. I will no longer be able to participate as of February 28th, 2022. It is with great excitement and honor that I will be accepting the job as Oak Park Heights Summer Park Program Coordinator. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to such an incredible board. I've truly valued the opportunity to work with such a strong and inspirational team. I wish the best to all members going forward. Sincerely, Annalise Berries. And I just thought that was so well
That's
done.
good.
It just points
Very
out
nice.
again why we made the right decision with you, Annie. You're going to just do so well, and we'll still look forward to being able to sort of work with you as you move forward in that position. Anybody else have anything to say?
I just wanted to add again, thank you so much for having me. And it really was just such a great learning experience for me.
Well, we were glad to have you. And like I say, it just led to you being hired for this. And I just know what a great job you're going to do for us. And we look forward to you coming back and reporting in with us. Jen, when does Annie start that position?
Well, that is under new business tonight to talk about when we want to set that first work session. So she's already accepted the position. Her background check came back fine. We weren't worried about that at all. So she is officially our 2022 Summer Park Program Coordinator. And so as soon as she's ready and you're ready to meet to start talking about programming, we'll set that up tonight. And
Okay,
that's when she'll officially start.
good enough. So do we actually make a motion to accept the resignation?
Yes,
Is that
sadly, we will
appropriate?
have to take that action, yes.
All right, I'm asking for someone to make that motion at this point to accept Annie's resignation as a commissioner on the Parks and Trails.
I'll make the motion to accept her resignation and wish her the best on her new job with Oak Park Heights.
Thank you, Randy. Does anyone else then, would somebody like to second that motion?
I'd like to second that with regret.
That's good to hear too. Thank you so much for doing that. Motion has been made and seconded to accept Annie's resignation and wish her all the best moving forward. And now that other part is now to replace her though. We need to schedule interviews for that. Is that correct?
Yes, so Madam Chair and members of the commission, you'll recall that we did have at the time that we last posted for vacancies, we did have another application that came in and we had not selected that candidate, but we had held on to her application in the event we have another vacancy. And I did reach out to her, Jennifer Van Dyke, and asked her if she'd be interested in reapplying. And she replied immediately and said, absolutely. So she's very, very interested in,
Good.
and she has submitted her, resubmitted her application. So we have her application. I've also advertised the position on Facebook and on our website, and staff has reached out to a former commissioner who one time had expressed coming back to the commission, and we're just waiting to see if he's still interested. But I think it's important that we schedule interviews at least for the one candidate so we can get that position filled right away. And then hopefully by that time we'll have another application or two and we can do multiple interviews. But if not, then we can set another interview date for future candidates.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Do we need a motion on your plans for scheduling the interviews and moving
Yeah,
forward?
so I'd like the commission to decide whether they would like to have that maybe 15 minutes prior to your next meeting in March, if that works for everybody. We won't need much time for that interview. You've all met her before, you interviewed her before. But we would want to have another conversation with her, and it shouldn't take, 15 minutes maximum. So if we could set that for, if the commission's comfortable with that, make a motion to set that for 15 minutes prior to your next regular meeting.
Okay,
And that meeting will be back in person under the city council's direction.
good to hear.
Mhm.
All right, do I hear a motion to schedule interview 15 minutes before our next scheduled meeting in the third week in March?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, George. Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded, and we'll do that, and we'll plan to be there a few minutes before that 5:45 time then, to be ready for it, so that you can give us any last minute instructions or suggestions, Jen. Okay?
Okay, and then if we do happen to get another application or two, we'll just plan on, we could start our regular meeting just a little bit late.
Sure.
If that works.
That's fine.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
okay, that sounds good. So that takes care of that.
All right, thank you. And we can move on to new business. And this is now to schedule a work session with Annie herself about the summer park program. And are we ready to actually put a date on that?
How do you feel about that? Annie is meeting with myself and Gina at City Hall on March 11th to talk about supplies and contacts. And Gina was absolutely thrilled and more than willing to help us out with this transition. So I think that'll be a good meeting. And so, Annie, would you feel comfortable setting a work session in March, or do you want to push that out to April, or how do you feel?
Absolutely. I would like to move forward with making the meeting in March, just so
Okay.
I could move forward with my next duties.
Sure. So if it works with the commission's schedules, could we maybe think about having that in March as well, maybe at 5 p.m. the same day as your meeting?
Is that acceptable to everyone? Is to me.
Well, it's in
Good with us.
person, so I won't be able to join, obviously.
No, we understand that.
And that's all I'll say about that, but I don't think we have the capability to do a hybrid where Zoom plus in person, so.
Probably
Maybe.
not. Probably not.
But that's okay. Don't worry about it this time.
Okay, thank you.
But shouldn't we, now think about this, if we have that meeting, Judith, you and I would be the only two commissioners there. Maybe we should run the interview first. Assume that the person we're interviewing could also then be part of the meeting. If Randy's not there, we don't have a quorum really. So what I'm suggesting is maybe the interview at 5 o'clock, and then at 5:15 meet with Annie and run that until whenever it's ending, and then start our business meeting.
What do you think, Jen? I'm asking you as our guide through the protocols here.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
All right.
So we would just need you to amend the motion. Let's see, George, you made that motion to schedule the interview for 15 minutes prior to next meeting. So you just need to amend that motion to set it for 5 p.m. instead.
Is that okay with
Okay.
you, Annie?
Yes.
All right.
Jen,
Yes.
technically, they wouldn't be on the commission until the council would vote them in,
Oh,
though.
that's
So you're only gonna have,
absolutely-
That's true, yeah.
That
two
is absolutely
commissioners.
correct. Yeah. So I guess it doesn't matter. George, it was a good thought, but you're right, Councilmember Doherty. So
Yeah,
We'll
we
just-
have to respect
we'll
that,
just-
certainly.
we'll just keep that original plan to have the interview 15 minutes prior. And the work session is just a work session. No, we don't need a quorum for that. So
Right.
since no action will be taken, so we can still go ahead with taking action to set that work session for 5 PM if that still works.
Okay, so we can do it, but just in that sense that it's a work session with Annie and followed by the interview at 5:45. Right?
Yeah, but you won't really be able to have a meeting if you only have 2 commissioners, will you?
But we can still have the work session and the interview.
Mm-hmm. And then no meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
I
So,
am also happy to write up something for Randy and I can send it over to him through email if that's acceptable. I'm not quite sure.
I mean, yeah, I'd like to see where you're heading with it. I think it'd be good to,
Absolutely.
and I want to help any way I can.
Sure.
So it's up to the commission how you want to get my input on that.
okay, well, let's see if Annie gets something written up, she'll give it to Jen. Jen's got your address and
Yep.
Your email and can send it.
Yep. Jan knows how to find me. Yes.
Yeah, so that's the important thing there. And
Okay, about it like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good idea. Any other suggestions for this? Otherwise, what we've decided to do here, let's run past for official notes. We're going to schedule a work session at what time now? The work session is going to be
We say 5?
at 5 o'clock and then followed at 5:45 with an interview of at least the one person, maybe somebody else will come up in the interim time here in the next month. And then we pop it back by 15 minutes. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Does that pretty much cover our scheduling, the work session with Annie and also an interview with a potential new commission member?
Perfect. So if I could just get a motion to set that work session for 5 o'clock.
Sorry, one more thing. Should I help out in any way, like after the work session? Or is that not acceptable?
Yeah, no, we'll just do the work session and then we just won't have a regular meeting. That's fine. It's happened before. Yeah, it'll be fine.
And that's easy enough to do, because you've got your hands full now with your new position.
I cannot wait to show you what I'm coming up with.
Oh, that's good.
Great.
That's good to hear. So we need a motion to schedule the work session and then an interview with our one contestant at this point. Do I hear a motion for that?
I motion to schedule the work session at 5 o'clock on March, let's see, what's 21st? And followed with an interview at 5:45.
All right, and a second for that?
Sure, second.
Thank you. Seconded, and 5:45, the interview. All right, moving on, here's the informational. Does anyone else have any other questions, suggestions? Want to bring up any other topics before we go to informational?
I will just let you know that I was contacted by a resident of our city. His name is Neil Swenson, and he is involved with the bike team, the Stillwater Mountain Bike Team. And he wants to discuss the possibility of having a mountain bike skills course in one of the city parks. So I invited him in to come and meet with me and Public Works Director Kegley So we can get an idea of what that entails, how much space, what he's thinking, who would build it, which city park. I just wanted to, we have a lot of questions we want to hammer out before we have them come present to the Parks and Trails Commission. So I just wanted to let you know that sometime down the road, we might have a presentation from them, from that individual and maybe the bike team on what adding a skills course to one of our parks and what that might look like.
So it would be a permanent addition.
Yeah, so a skills course would be an area that would have some bridges, some jumps, some maybe some cones for twisting and turning and navigating, that kind of thing. So I really don't know exactly what that entails and how much space, and that's why I invited him in to meet with Andy and myself to at least tell us what he's thinking, and then we'll go from there.
All right.
Also add to your talk with him, what's the liability and something like that? Who's liable on a course like that?
And who's going to keep it up?
Mhm.
Upkeep, maintenance, liability. You probably thought about all this, Jen. You know, things like
All
that.
the questions on our
Yeah,
list,
same kind of things we went through when when Saska came in to put the bike trail in at Valley View Park. So it's not going to be something that will happen quickly. If it does happen, there's a lot that has involved with that conversation. So
Right.
just wanted to let you know, sometime down the pipe that might be coming at you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for letting us know. All right. Informational is the last section on our sheet here. So it's the next meeting is Monday, March 21st, as we've been talking. The actual meeting now is going to be postponed because we won't have a quorum. But we will actually meet at City Hall for the other two sessions that we already discussed at length. And then the next upcoming council meeting is Tuesday, March 8th at 6 p.m. at City Hall. And that's all I have. Does anyone else have any questions, or otherwise, can I hear a motion to adjourn?
Can I add one quick thing for a future agenda item? I think we were a little late last year, but we need to bring our community garden, those boxes, up for discussion early rather than later this year.
Good point.
So can we add that probably to an agenda, please?
Sure. Because even at that, even if we can't meet officially this next on March 21st, then April is pretty good time.
Yeah.
So that to start
add in the
thinking about.
we want to put a blurb in the newsletter too about it.
Right. And we can get that in if we can make just a general note on that when the seasonal newsletter goes out.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Seconded?
Second. Yeah.
Thank you. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.